Hey everybody, the Reeswirl here, and welcome back to more Kingdom Come Deliverance. Okay, because I said last session I would read more this session. My throat's gonna hate me, but whatever. Alright, how many things do I have to read? 60. 60 and 20 fucking 84. And I only read 13. I only read 30 things last time, and it took 40 minutes. Oh dear, this could be interesting then. Although these seem to be fairly short. So, yeah, I think I'll be fine. We'll see, I suppose. Either way, animal husbandry. In the Middle Ages, a significant part of any property ownership consisted of livestock: horses, goats, cattle, and poultry. Horses were highly prized, and until the 12th century were only available for the nobility, for military purposes, and for light hauling. The change came in the 12th and 13th century when horses came to be used for transport and tillage. In Bohemia, horses began to be shod from the 11th and 12th century up to the 13th only as a rule on the front hooves, and later when horses were used for heavier work on all four. Almost every serf in the Middle Ages would prefer to own a cow than a piece of arable land, so even some landless folk had access to food by way of milk. Curiously enough, in the Middle Ages, milk and dairy goods were not traded much. For one thing, many people had a cow of their own, but also because no effective means of milk and dairy product preservation was yet known. Sheep were kept by both serfs and the upper classes, largely for their wool. The poorest often kept a goat for milk and cheese. Pigs were left to forage in the woods all year round, feeding on beech nuts and acorns. Medieval pigs were much like wild boars and had little in common with today's pink animals. The most commonly kept poultry were chickens and only rarely geese and ducks. All cattle grazed freely on the meadows around the village. In heavy winters, the livestock was kept inside the house, even sharing the same room with the people, and serving as a source of heat. Now we have armor. In the 14th century, manufacturing capabilities grew to include the forging of stronger, often combined armor. Plate armor was developed thanks to improved steel-making techniques and the ability to beat out larger sheets of metal at forging mills. Or beat out larger sheets of metal at forging mills. The soldier's head was protected by a helmet, e.g. the kettle helm, or kettle hat, the sallet, or the great helm. Armor was crafted by the platesmiths and helmers, often from one piece of tempered sheet metal, skullcaps, sallets, or rivets together from the several smaller pieces, kettle helms, great helms. The best armor of the early 15th century was considered to be that made in Germany and Italy. Combination armor was used by heavy cavalry. It was based around chainmail, supplemented by plate armor on the limbs and a simpler version of the cuirass or placard, or just a gambeson. Quilted breastcoat. Some cuirasses and breastplates were equipped with a hook to support the knight's spear or lance in combat. If the armor lacked a hook, the spear or lance was lodged in the booch, a notch in the shield which covered the left arm, controlling the reins and the lower part of the helmet. A very common helmet type was the bassinet, with its distinctly shaped clap visor, giving rise to the name hone skull. In addition, pictorial sources frequently show iron hats, often with one or two viewports. The shoulders were protected either by chainmail, sleeves, or pauldrons. An essential part of the armor was the shield. The armory. This was the place where the military equipment was kept, or the civic's militia repository. Swords, spears, halberds, bows and arrows, crossbows, suits of armor, helmets, and other offensive and defensive weapons and firearms. In times of threat, it was the duty of all residents to defend the city, and for these purposes, the city had an armory with enough to arm its residents. Even in times of peace, the townspeople often had to take turns on guard duty. Astrology. What the? Oh. In the Middle Ages, alchemy and physics were naturally linked with astrology, which was regarded as applied astronomy. Since ancient times, fate had been considered the expression of divine will, emanating from the heavens and giving mankind signs in the constellations of stars and planets. Indeed, the Arabs and ancient Greeks had made tables, schemes, and catalogues of stars and constellations, as well as calendars used for navigation. The movement of celestial bodies had an influence on political issues, on decisions about war or marriage. Even medical treatment, food preparation, or tasks associated with agriculture were deemed to be subject to celestial mechanics. Based on the constellations, every person was assigned a sign of the zodiac, which determined his health, career, and social relationships throughout his life. Astrologers used many devices in their work, such as astrolabes, sextants, quadrants, sundials, and other devices for accurate monitoring of the skies. Unlike today, astrology was a highly regarded and respected science, and many astronomers of that time were also astrologers. Oh. So baptism. Under Christian doctrine, baptism is the ritual shedding of original sin and salvation, and cannot occur without it. Original sin condemns all since Adam to die. Okay. All people since Adam to die. In the early Middle Ages, adults who consciously entered into the Christian fold were the ones baptized, while at the height of the Middle Ages, baptism came to include even young children. If a child died prematurely, i.e. unbaptized, its soul could not go to heaven, nor could the body be buried in hallowed ground. Baptisms took place mainly on religious holidays, especially at Easter, and churches would have special baptismal fonts for the occasion, the baptistery. Alright. Beverages. There were shortages of clean drinking water due to pollution of watercourses by human activities around rural settlements, and fruit juices were available only in season, hence why everyone, including children, drank beer. The beer brewed at home was weaker and heavier than today, contained 1 to 5% alcohol, and served instead of soup. It had no It had no head of foam, was brewed from wheat, so-called white beer, or from barley, old beer. Only in the 15th century did hops come to be added for better beer quality, bringing out a bitter flavour. Wine was drunk primarily at court and in the monasteries. It differed from today's by its spicy, very sweet taste. It would be condensed into a thick syrup and diluted with water. Spirits were altogether rare. Distillation took place in small volumes. Fruit and cereal distillates were again weaker than today's, about 15 to 20%. The most popular drink was mead, made from fermented honey dissolved in water. Books and libraries. Collecting and preserving written records goes back to ancient times, but the barbarians who sacked Rome in the 5th century destroyed a great many, so a lot of the rare manuscripts have been preserved indirectly via the Arab world. Various materials were used to write on pieces of fabric, papyrus or vellum, fine animal leather. Parchment was expensive and was therefore used primarily for codices and deeds of privilege due to its significantly longer lifespan. The most widely used material was paper. The writing implements used include the quill pen, engraver, brush or reed cane, charcoal and chalk sticks. The transcription of books was the monk's domain. Each book was unique, carefully decorated, the text enriched with bounteous illuminations, all done by hand. The production of a book took many years, making them very expensive. Major works of that time came into being in Latin, but during the Middle Ages some literature began to appear in the respective national languages. Books were very heavy, so as to be hard to steal, and contained a great many pages. Although there were some miniature handbook formats, too, there were books so massive that they couldn't be carried by one man. Not only because of their value, but to protect them from destruction, important writings were often kept in chests or cabinets. Only later did libraries come into being, where the volumes would be tethered to the reading desk by a chain. Libraries were needed by administrative offices and places of learning, especially universities. The largest collections were to be found at Sorbonne, Oxford, and University of Prague, where there were books donated by Emperor Charles IV himself. Notable members of the nobility or the church also boasted private collections, despite the fact that not all of them could read. Burghers. So, in the Middle Ages, the relationships between townsfolk and villagers were not particularly good. Townspeople, not only those enjoying the freedom of full city rights, but also the poor, regarded themselves as higher ranking than agricultural peasants in villages. Often enough, they did indeed have higher social standing due to their trade and business profits. Towns were the economic and cultural centers, but it was the country that provided the goods, especially the foodstuffs. In a medieval town, the best properties around the square and the market were owned by rich councillors and merchants. Around them lived the craftsmen and artisans, and the poor by the city walls. The townspeople's livelihoods stemmed largely from trade, skilled crafts, and many associated professions. Like today, the townsfolk bought their food from the market, or at the market. According to some sources, Prague at the time of Charles IV had some 40,000 inhabitants. At this time, London had about 80,000. Paris was comparable to Prague, although the Czech capital covered a larger area. The nobles did not generally live in the cities, but resided on their own estates. Camping. Oh, wow, there's so much info. In the Middle Ages, countries were constantly being crossed by marauding groups of soldiers, brigands, and guardsmen in groups of various sizes. All lone combatants who often changed their place of abode. They lived in makeshift huts, shelters, or tents around a central fire. Some stayed at one camp for several days, others set up camp only for one night and moved on again the next day. One important factor in their choice of campsite was the ready availability of water, food, animal fodder, and firewood. Very rarely they camped in villages or by a castle or in its vicinity. This was reserved for overnighting by the nobility and their entourage. During wartime or while on the run, they would sleep in the open since there was no time to raise or break down tents. The noblemen's armies also camped at sites where provincial militias were gradually gathering, all while awaiting the arrival of reinforcements or allies. The longest lasting, sometimes up to several months, were encampments for laying siege to strongholds for those on riverbanks, waiting to engage with enemy forces on the other side. Tents were intentionally erected close together for security, mimicking battlements. The largest tent in the center of the camp belonged to the commander. Nearby tents housed nobles and high-ranking soldiers, surrounded by simple shelters and huts for the ordinary soldiers and their horses. There was no need to camp together in one place, and an army could make camp across several locations. In the larger camps, there would be a field chapel, an infirmary to care for the wounded, and sometimes even a makeshift brothel. Simple tents in the early Middle Ages took the shape of a capital A, with a square base and a distinctive central pole mounted on two upright stands. The tent canvas was most often made from flax or hemp, undyed for ordinary soldiers, but variously coloured and decorated for the commanders. The men slept on the ground on mats, skins, pelts, but the nobility and churchmen would have travel beds. Long-term camping was challenging logistically, supplies always being the responsibility of the administrator of the nearest affiliated township. If the army was on hostile territory, it would send out provisioning detachments to procure fuel and food, or food and fuel. When supplies ran short, it was time to move on to another location or give up the campaign. The worst occurrence was an outbreak of any epidemic in the camp. Since hygiene was difficult to maintain, while waiting for developments, there would also be quarrels, duels, and fights, which could escalate into a bigger conflict and significantly compromise the army. Disputes therefore had to be judged, and if necessary, severe punishments meted? Don't know. Either way, carts and wagons. In the Middle Ages, wagons were used for transport, agricultural work, and for wartime purposes. One of the simplest was a two-wheeled cart, while hay wagons, hay wains, were also to be seen. The oldest high-wheeled cart had one central axle connected to the undercarriage. From the 14th century on, twin-axled four-wheeled wagons came into use. The front axle was not steerable, resulting in a very wide turning radius. Wagons did not have a seat for the coachman, who either rode astride one of the horses or walked alongside the wagon. In wartime, a wagon could be turned into a mobile field palisade, the strategy that became famous especially during the Hussite Wars, when the strategy of wagon walls won more than one battle for the Calixtines, the Hussite forces. Oh my god. There's so much. Wait, how many have I read? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I've done 10. I think I might make it a thing where I do 10 each session. So next session I'll do Chronicles. Because my throat's already hurting, but it is because I read, like, a lot earlier. And it's also because these are very long. Like, really quite long. Not all of them, but most of them are. Right, so we need to go from Chronicles next. From Chronicles. Alright, okay. I don't even know what time it is. It's almost daytime. Kind of. There's also somebody that's got a quest. Somewhere. You appear to be missing your clothes, sir. Well, Lady Stephanie wants to talk, so we'll go see what she wants. Assuming I can talk to her, she might be fast asleep, because it is like 5 AM. Oh my god, she actually wants to talk. Damn!
The Lord save you. What do you need?
I heard you wanted to speak with me.
I heard you wanted to talk to me, my lady.
It's true. I need something from you.
Sup?
How can I help?
My cousin, young Sophie, is going to be wed. It will be an entry into a new life, and I want everything to be perfect for her. I'm looking for a few things to give her as a gift, and you're going to find them for me.
My lady, why me?
Normally I'd let the Chamberlain take care of it, but he doesn't have any taste. I can't trust him with this. And I've been told no task is too challenging for you. Is that not true?
It will be my honor, my lady.
I need you to pick up an
Hell yeah.
ornamental crown from Sasau for Sophie, wine from a merchant in Ratai, and a roan from the stable in Ujits.
Where am I to find the wine? Oh, right, yeah.
Who am I supposed to pick up the wine from?
From Conrad Hagen in Ratai. He's the only person in the whole region who can supply a genuinely good wine.
Huh.
And believe me, I know what I'm talking about.
Of course you do, you're noble.
Here you go. That should be enough.
19, that's weird. And what about the ornamental crown?
And the ornamental crown?
I had the engravers in Sasau make it, but now they've written to say it will take a while longer.
Oh.
That just won't do. The wedding is almost upon us, and I need it. Go and see Master Jeronim Slesky and pick it up.
You said a roan from Ujits.
Precisely. It's a beautiful animal. Wait till you see it. Dietrich said he'd ride it here himself, but I can already imagine how he'll end up killing himself on that horse. But you, so young and vigorous.
Hey! I can do all that.
Wine, a roan, and a crown. I can handle that.
Thank you, Henry. I just wish there were others here I could trust so well.
What is it you need me to do?
My apologies.
Oh,
Could you tell
whoops.
I need you to pick...
Right, okay, I can do.
what?
I didn't realise.
Thank you.
I thought it was
I
like,
just
there's
wish
another...
there were-
I thought there was like another job you wanted me to do. My bad. Cool. There's a bunch of stuff, like there's an activity in the southwest. Hang on, I want to check if it's in Talmberg or if it's just outside. Hup, hup, hup. It's southwest. It's not showing. Oh, there we go. There you go. Perfect. There it is. Activity giver. And an unexplored place. There's actually nothing to do within Talmberg walls, which I find really rather weird. But I also get the feeling I should probably have a torch out. Just because everybody else does. And I stole a horse, and then I hid it outside of the city. Just because I want to go to Ujits. For one, to read a book. Well, I'm going to double check that the horse is actually there. But yeah, I want to go to Ujits. And having a horse will definitely make the journey a lot nicer. And not take as long. That's assuming the horse hasn't just wandered back to where it came from. Which could have been the case. I guess we're going to find out. Nope, there it is. Ta-da! I put it right here because there'd be nobody... There should be no one else out that should see me. To steal it. It's what I'm hoping, anyway. Actually, I'll come back to the activity giver once I've done the roan. Yeah. Just because it's early and there's no one around, so it's probably a better idea to take the horse now, as opposed to later when people might be out and about. It just sucks that it's a stolen horse, so it's not mine, which means I can't do anything with it. Like, I can't store stuff inside of it, which is the only shitty thing, but whatever. So you get used to it. Alrighty. Ujits. Should probably look around as to where the heck I need to go, to be fair. Ujits, okay. I get the feeling Ujits is... Oh no. I don't even think I can get to Ujits from here. I would assume I could. I'll go this way. It's a bad idea to do this, but we'll try it. Hang on. Is that a body? Oh, it's a rock. It's a bunch of rocks, actually. I'm an idiot. I thought it was a body. I'm very confused. Like, what the heck? Why is there a dead guy? And that's because there wasn't a dead guy at all. There's more things I can take? Nah. Yeah, the only downside is with this being a mountain steel, I have to be very careful as to where the bloody hell I place the horse. Oh, Privislavitz. It's really quite hard to say. Wrong one. That's what I want. The map. Oh no, that does lead to Uzhitz. Okay, good. Whew. That was a worry. No. Ooh, hello. Hang on. I like herbalism. So I like to, just grab as much as I can. Mushrooms, too. It seems that you actually pick up the herbs if you're closer to them, so sneaking's actually a good idea. Well, because then your cursors are close to where the plants are. I just really hope there's no people nearby. I don't want to get done for stealing again. And I actually looked at what the infamous perk is under, and it's a main level one, so I won't be able to get that until I reach max level. Which should probably occur at some point soon, I would say. I think you get max level, or main level experience from everything. So if you level up other skills, you get experience in it and everything. And I think I'll also get one of the ancient treasures. Uzhitz. This will be a location. The first written mention of Uzhitz dates to 1284. Until 1552, ownership of this small town was split between the lords of Talmberg and the lords of Ratai, who eventually became its sole owners. The medieval church of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary, built in the 12th century, stands in the center of the village. Sweet. Here we are. What I do want to check is whether I'm good to sell half of these things. Yellow chaperone. Whoa! Oh, very fancy. Oh, right, yeah, these are all there. They're also bloody. Which makes me kind of worried. Just at the fact that they're bloody. Oh yeah, I was going to wear that. Whoops. And also the trousers. Which I've forgotten. Ooh. That works. Yeah, cool. I get the feeling if something's covered in blood, it just looks as if that's somebody you've killed. I should be careful. I need the roan, which is where? The roan, that's the scribe. Oh wait, that won't be on my map. Oh right, because it's thick as Steve, that's why. There we go. So the roan is where? Oh. South of Uzhitz. Whatever. Does that just wash my, everything I have on me? No, that's still covered in blood. Weird. Although I do want to speak with the scribe. I think I have to pay, which is fine. I'm also interested in just learning how to read so that I can read books and increase the levels in skills, etc. That's not a door. Oh, here we go. Hey, hey! Oh. Oh. Oh, here. Hello, friend.
I hope I can be of help to you, Knight.
I'd like to learn to read.
I'd like to learn to read.
At this time of day? Are you right in the head? Come back tomorrow morning.
Oh. Of course. Good sir. What time is it? Oh, it's 6. Fine, I'll give you 2 hours. I'll just stand over watching you sleep. I'm sure you won't mind. Alrighty. And while I'm here, I'm gonna get one of the ancient treasures, because I remember where it is. It's just outside of Uzhitz. To the north of it. It's like just this massive solitary tree, and there's a grave right nearby it. But it's an ancient treasure. So it's not like it's a bad thing. Oh, there we go. Hi, friend. Hi, friend.
I'm at your service, Sir Knight.
Sir Knight. I love being called Sir Knight. I'd like to learn to read.
I've come to ask if you'd be willing to teach me to read.
Why, it would be my pleasure.
Oh.
Bear in mind, it won't be all that easy. You'll need plenty of time and a few groschen for my trouble.
Let's get started.
All right. I don't want to waste time. We can get started. The sooner I master it, the better.
Very well. I will require some groschen from you, though, and set aside at least a couple of days so I can put you through your paces, if indeed time is of the essence.
50? Yeah, sure.
Here are your groschen.
Then we may as well start.
50 groschen to learn to read. It's not too bad. Now we get a cutscene.
He did break his vow, but better than to dishonor it here. May he follow his heart. Wake up, lad. It's time we were getting on. So, let's see you read a bit.
And now we're back in control. Read the book.
There's a book here on the table. Try to read it.
This one.
Will I manage?
You ought to be able to. It's a simple text. Come back once you've worked your way through it.
Read. Ah, right. That's cool. So it's one day a countryman going to... Oh, come on. One day a countryman going to the nest of his goose found there an egg all yellow and glittering. When he took it up, it was as heavy as lead, and he was going to throw it away, because he thought a trick had been played upon him. But he took it home on... Oh god. Oh, he took it home on second thoughts, and soon found to his delight that it was an egg of pure gold. Every morning the same thing occurred, and he soon became rich by selling his eggs. As he grew rich, he grew greedy, and thinking to get at once all the gold the goose could give, he killed it. Oh god. He killed it and opened it, only to find nothing. Right, okay. I'm pretty sure what we have to do is recount what the book's on about. It's on about a goose that shat out pure gold. Basically. I've read the book.
I've read the book.
Yeah!
Wonderful. So tell me, what have you learned?
Something about a fellow and a goose.
There was something about some fellow and a goose.
Ah, well, the main thing is you've managed to read the book. The rest is just practice. Only through a careful reading will you uncover the real meaning of the text. No book is written on a mere whim and without purpose. Like I told you, books are valuable, and the words that you place in them ought to be no less so.
Does that mean that I can read then?
Yes, you have the foundation. Remember, my boy, the pen is mightier than the sword. To fully learn your way around words will take a lot more reading yet. Now we'll move on to the second lesson, which will be much harder. Many books are written in Latin, the language of erudite and religious men. If you really want to be able to read, there's no getting away from Latin. There's a book on the table with some text. Read it and then come back. You need not understand it, but you should master the letters.
I
Okay.
only just managed the fable about the goose, and now you're asking me to tackle Latin.
You're a clever lad. You'll manage.
We'll see. No, so it's this one. Yep. Time to read the Latin book. Okay. Okay. I did. I don't know what the fuck it's on about. I don't know Latin. So, yeah. Done. Now I can read. I read the page.
I read the page.
So tell me, Destitute, what's written there?
Oh. Oh god. I think it was nullus. Nullus est libertam malus, ut non aliqua parte prosit. The bottom one the middle one sounds, more, it sounds more correct than the top one. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. Oh no. Oh shit. Yeah, it wasn't nut. Nutus. Nullus.
Nullus est liber tam malus, ut non alique parte prosit.
Good heavens! Don't tell me you haven't had lessons before.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, there's nothing more I can teach you. Congratulations. You can go and be ordained right away.
Thank you, Domine. I'm feeling a lot wiser.
There we go. New reading level. I can also buy oop. I don't want to pickpocket him. Bloody hell. I want to talk to him and buy stuff. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, you want to trade? No, I know he has a lot of books. They're all rather expensive as well. Primer. Wait, Primer 2. Ooh, a skill book on reading. Really? What could I sell him? I could sell my ancient maps. I might actually do that because I know where they all are, apart from that one. Yeah. Oh wait! Check basket. Remove. Yeah, sod it. Haggle. I'll try and get him down to 50.
Can we do something about the...
Alright, so. There, 50.
Agree?
More.
That's not enough.
Yeah, of course. This parchment it's divine, yes. Ooh, I might be able to get another offer in. 53.
All right, so.
But hey! Hell yes. I got a book. I've gotten multiple books. I'm just gonna sit down. Up. And, have a nice read of the book. Why not? I've got 2 books I can read. I think. Who needs a key and primer? There you go. Oh, and I can also do this, which will get me a lot of reading levels. Which is why I wanted to keep them. Just reading the maps seems to get you experience. Or maybe I'm wrong. Oh no, there you go. See? Ta-da! Boom. Now I've got more treasure maps to read. Oh, ooh. Talmberg. Mehoyed. It's near a well, from the looks of things. Ledechko. So that's in a mine. Right. Ratai. Neuhof. Oh no, Ratai's that way. It's near a Neuhof. Just south of it, seemingly. Another level! What the fuck? Oh, that's Sassau. Oh, right. It's in the middle of the water. Oh, weird. Right, I'll read Primer first. Barbar Black Sheep, have you any wool? You'll find out in our latest publication! A primer for the 15th century coming soon to a scriptorium near you. Yeah, and this is how you read books. You have to study them. There you go. This one's going to take 5 hours to read. From cover to cover. It's really cool though. Like, the fact that if you want to actually learn or increase a skill in something, you do actually have to read stuff and spend time reading it to understand it. It's just cool. As opposed to like the Oblivion where if you read a skill book, you only have to open it and then you've got it. Did Oblivion have skill books? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it did, yeah. Same goes for Skyrim. You only have to look open the cover, see the author and the title of the book, and then you can close it. You don't need to read it. I mean, I shouldn't judge it too harshly. That game's 7 years old. Whereas this came out literally a few weeks ago. Here we go, we've read it from cover to cover. Right, so the only other one I have is Who Needs a Key? At first glance it may appear that learning the art of picking is an essential part of a thief's education. Appearances don't deceive. What does this take? Ooh, a fair amount. Wait, why can't I read any longer? That kind of sucks. I can only read... Wait, so if I try it again, I can only read it for 3. That makes no sense to me, that's so weird. Unless there's only a certain amount of time you can spend reading a day. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense. So from 22 to 24, and then to 22, then to 42. Yeah, well. I still love the fact that my energy and nourishment don't drop anymore. It's great. So I basically need to spend at least 2 more hours in order to finish the book. It's a bit of a pain. Yeah, kinda. Right. Boop. Ta-da! I actually got a level in lockpicking. Cool. I've gotten... Yeah, I've got 2 perk... I've got level 6 in reading already? What the shit? So, all books are cheaper. When reading, you will get tired and hungry twice as slowly as normal. The first time you look at a fresco, cross or... okay. Charisma increases. Being well learned, you make a better impression on people. And get a +1 bonus when trying to persuade a guard. Hey! An avid reader.